Welcome to All Access Sports Meeting. My name is Trey and I'm here with my co-host Ladarius, and we're going to give y'all a recap of last night's game between the Pacers and the Cavs and the Warriors and the Timberwolves. Let's tip our hats off to Tyrese Halliburton, as he had a phenomenal game last night. I can admit, I underestimated him going up against the Cavaliers defense, which ranked 8th in the NBA. Halliburton dropped 19 points, 9 rebounds, and dished out 4 assists, and sealed the deal with the clutch game winner with just 1 second left. Unbelievable. On the other side, you had the Cavs superstar, Donovan Mitchell, who put up 48 points, 5 rebounds, and 9 assists. Despite the monster performance, that wasn't enough to get the job done. The absence of their starting point guard, Darius Garland, is really hurting them, offense and defense. His presence could have tipped the scale. How do you feel about it, Ladarius?
Yeah, with the Cavs, on the other hand, they had Darius Garland out, but they also had Evan Mobley out and DeAndre Hunter. So Donovan Mitchell, he put up the 48 points, but he shot 15 for 30 from the field. And overall, it took everything he could, but they still was defeated. Tyrese Halliburton, on the other end, he came in strong in the second half. He started off a little slow. He had a little injury on his wrist in the second quarter. But he came through in the second half for the Pacers like he always do, and he had a good game. But he also had help when he had Miles Turner that put up 23 points and 8 rebounds. Miles Turner went 8 for 17 in the field, and he went 2 for 5 from the 3. He also had Aaron Nesmith. He put up 23 points and 4 rebounds. He went 8 for 13 from the field. But the most important thing for Aaron Nesmith, he went 5 for 8 from the 3. So that was, that would help them tilt the scale to actually take over the Cavs, even with a 50-point, almost dang near 50-point performance from Donovan Mitchell.
Okay. Pretty great stats there. So let me ask you this. How do you feel about the series? Who come out on top?
Honestly, with the injuries, if the Cavs can't get none of their guys back to be healthy, then the Pacers, right now, they demanding that this series may be coming down to the Pacers winning this series in about game 5 or 6.
Okay, I can see that. Well, a guy like me, I'm going to say I'm rocking with the Cavs. I like the Cavs in game 6, only because I've seen what Donovan Mitchell can do. He's been great. He's been phenomenal. And the Pacers sometimes tend to slack. Halliburton, I don't pretty much think he's going to be great all the time. But he was phenomenal last night, so tip my hats to him once again.
Yeah, like I say, my only thing is if they can get them guys back they got to get back DeAndre Hunter and Evan Mobley healthy, then they have a chance. But if those guys going to be sidelined along with Darius Garland, it's going to be hard to fight when you got one scorer on the floor, one predominant scorer, and you don't have it much. Now, the Cavs bench might come through in the game, but is they going to do that all series? I can't see that.
See, but then again, they also got a guy, Ty Jerome. I like Ty Jerome. He did it in the first series when they got ready to face the team that they faced. So he pretty much showed up, and which he showed up last night. So I do like Ty Jerome and Max Cruz. He showed up in Darius Garland's spot when he was absent. He put up 23 points last night as well.
I guess we'll have to see how it go, but I have the Pacers right now. Due to the injury that the Cavs got, I got the Pacers in 6.
We're back with part 2, our last night game recap. The Warriors versus the Timberwolves. The Warriors handled the Timberwolves 99-88, showing their resilience. All praise to the Warriors, as they managed to defeat the Timberwolves even with facing an injury from their superstar, Stephen Curry. This is my sleeper team in the West, only because offensively, they are not as equipped as other teams in the West. This particular game really showed how defense win games, as they were able to limit Anthony Edwards to 1 point in the first half. The second quarter burst of putting up 26 points really worked in the Warriors' favor as they controlled the game during the second half. How do you feel about it, Ladarius?
Well, that game was lopsided from the beginning. Like you say with Curry, he got off hot, and the hamstring, it kind of hurt him. And right now, as reports are saying that he'll be out for probably a week or so. So he gonna miss game 2, definitely, maybe game 3. So Minnesota right now, they're at home because they the higher seed. They had to win the one at home, but they need to at least win one at Golden State to try to make this series go to game 6, if anything. If you let Curry come back and he's up leading, he gonna try to take them out. He gonna try to finish this series. But when it came to Anthony Edwards, he had a bad shooting. He was 0 for 8 in the first half. But the second half, he came out, he was 9 for 14. He was 1 for 3 from the three-point line. But he found a way to try to make the game interesting. They couldn't come back, but Julius Randle really didn't. He helped, but he didn't help as much. He had 18 points, but those 18 points, 10 of the points came from the free throw line. So he didn't really help because he was 4 for 11 from the field. He only had 4 rebounds, 3 assists. He didn't really play like himself yesterday, and it may be because they knocking off the rust. But if Steph Curry doesn't come back, it's gonna be hard for the Warriors. I know they got Jimmy Buckets and they have Buddy Hield, but I don't see Buddy Hield doing that the whole series, and I also don't see Draymond putting up 18 the whole series. And especially with Draymond, he shot 4 for 5 from the three-point line. So I don't see him doing that every series. Now, I don't know how you feel about it, but that's just my take on it. And what I say is Minnesota should win in 6.
Okay. You know, I can see that. As for me, I like the Timberwolves. I like the Timberwolves winning in Game 5. I'm calling it 4-1 right here, right now. Draymond Green cannot do what he did last night. Anthony Edwards will show up. I like how he played. He's phenomenal. So I'm calling it Game 5.
I can't just call it Game 5 because I got to see how they nurture Curry injury. Because right now they just saying 1 week, which is maybe Game 2 and Game 3 because they have those traveling days. So he might make it back for Game 4. So that's why I say it's 6, because I see that Minnesota may be having a 2-1 lead going back into Minnesota, having a 2-1 lead going back into Minnesota. And like I said, at the end of the day, then when Minnesota get back home for Game 5, if they do have a 3-1 lead, they could take them out. But if Curry playing, he gonna live to try to fight another day to go back to Golden State. I can see it being 3-2. I think the Timberwolves got enough to take it to Game 6 and win on the Warriors' home floor.
But you know what I did witness when it comes to the Timberwolves? I did witness their adapt. They adapt very well, in which they can switch up and put Anthony Edwards on Curry any day, and that kind of slows him down into getting into his rhythm, in which that's what they want. So that's why my only prediction in Game 5, because I know they can adapt. But I really can say, Steve Kerr, phenomenal job. You showed that you can clutch up in key moments, even without your top star.
Yeah, he coaching because he making Rudy Gobert actually work for his points. And he putting 6'8" Draymond Green on Rudy Gobert. And Rudy Gobert ain't taking advantage of it. He only had 9 points and 11 rebounds last night. He should have been more assertive in the game. I know Anthony Edwards is they star player. You know, that's who they run their offense through, and that's where they want to get the points. But some other people got to step up. That's what they went and got Julius Randle for in the trade when they traded Cat to New York. So Julius Randle got to come up big for what they traded him for.
And which you're right. Jimmy Butler, he got to find some type of groove, because he's going to hurt them if he can't find a groove. He can't afford to do what he did last series in this series. Because one thing I do know about Anthony Edwards, he find your weak point. And once he find that weak point, he attack. He going at anyone, no matter how big they is, no matter how small they is, he going at you.
Yeah, and I think with Jimmy Butler, you know, with Curry being out, he gonna have to step up and be that leader. He gonna have to be that. You know, Draymond is the enforcer on the defense, and you know he gonna try to intimidate you. But Jimmy Butler gonna have to step up and actually lead. Last night he stepped up. He had 20 points, but he had 11 rebounds, 8 assists. When Curry went out, he stepped up and he was the facilitator and leading the team. But Buddy Hield also came through big when he had them 24 points and 8 rebounds, and he shot 5 from the free throw line, 5 for 8 from the 3-point line. Do I see Buddy Hield doing that all series? He gonna have some game where I think he gonna be a little bit off. So if they're not able to capitalize off of that, someone else gonna have to step up. Which, I mean, the Warriors may have a couple on their bench that probably like Kaminka or Gary Pace Jr. can do it, but they're gonna have to step up the big way, because with Curry being out, the dynamic have to change in that series.
Well, you know, we're coming back tomorrow, and I can't wait to see what happens. I'm rooting for the Timberwolves, as I want Anthony Edwards to get one. He deserves it.
And I had the Timberwolves in 6. That has been my recap for tonight.
And that's been mine.